What is up, everybody? Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Supergirl Radio. Morgan, are you ready to go? Do we have all the docs, all the things?
I'm good.
Microphones. Okay, I think everything is good on my end. So if you want to go ahead and get started, we can do that. We're going to be talking about Krypton. Oh, not Krypton. Krypto, Last Dog of Krypton, number 5, which I believe, if we are correct, is the final issue of this title. So we have come to the conclusion. So we'll have to talk about how it ends up. And so, Morgan, if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. And we can get straight to it.
Yeah.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. It's so fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the character of Kara Zor-El and sometimes Krypto the Superdog. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to discuss and review Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton 2025, number 5, which is the 5th and final chapter of this series. This issue was written by Ryan North. The artist was Mike Norton. Ian Herring was the colorist. Lucas Gattoni was the letterer. Jay Lee and June Chung did the cover. David Talaski did the variant cover. Sabrina Futch was the editor. And Katie Kubert was the group editor. So I wanted to make sure we got everybody credited as they should be for this art that they have created. So we don't have any news for this week of Supergirl Radio. So we are just going to get right into talking about the issue. I'm very curious about Morgan's thoughts because this is the final chapter here that we're going to get into. So let's get into the official description of this one. The description for this issue reads, quote, Krypto has made his way to Kansas, but there are still so many miles between him and Superboy. When he comes across a home invasion, one that a canine with superpowers might be able to help with, Krypto makes a choice that helps him become the dog he was always meant to be. A long-lost pup finally finds his way back home in this heartwarming finale. And you'll believe a dog can fly, unquote. I think you'll believe that a dog can fly because he actually does in this.
He does it. He takes off and he flies.
I wanted to get more into kind of like your thoughts on this, but now that we're here, I wanted to address this because I felt very strongly for this family that he encounters at the beginning of the issue. So Krypto, he's come off this really horrendous thing that has happened to him, that this dog that he has befriended ends up dead at the end of issue 4. And it's heartbreaking and cruel and horrible. And so Krypto has had a real low. And so he hears with his super dog hearing that a family is in need. And so he goes to help them, which is great. A super dog, he's a superhero. He should help people who are held at gunpoint by some crazy lady for some reason. I think she wants them to sell their farmhouse or something. But Krypto flies in and destroys one of the walls of their homes. And, if it was Superboy or Superman, Superman would be like, well, I'll just rebuild it for you real fast.
Krypto cannot do that. This is where you run into the no opposable thumbs wall, when it comes to Krypto. And like you want to be saved by Krypto because he's cute and he has superpowers. But in some ways, do you want to be saved by Krypto? Because he's destructive and he can't fix it for you. He can't hold the tools.
What is he going to do? Just rebuild the wall? Or
he can't do that.
Fix a combine? He kind of destroys Jonathan Kent's combine at one point.
Yeah, he gets rid of that combine too.
So while Krypto, big heart, saves the day, stops the crime, destroys the house.
Whoops.
So I guess maybe their insurance can pay for it. I don't know. Maybe they'll have to fix the house. I just feel like Krypto, could he have found another way in? Could he have figured it out?
I think when we watched him leave the house, he should have left through the giant hole that he had just made in the house. I think that would have been funny. He just kind of goes out and then they're like, oh, thanks so much, dog. Like the kids are like, thanks so much. And they're like, the parents are like, yeah.
Now we have a giant hole in our wall. What if it rains tonight? We're in trouble.
Plus, we're alive. Minus, it's going to be chilly tonight.
I just feel like there should have maybe been. I think the way that you solve this problem is just every house should have a doggy door.
Yeah, I think.
Would that solve it?
That could solve it. One could also argue, just sort of devil's advocate here, that there's so many windows in the average house. and they're a lot easier to fix than the side of your house, the whole side of your house. And he could have maybe chosen a window to go through.
So just either have a doggy door or just maybe leave one window open.
You just got to open one window just in case of emergencies so Krypto can get in. Because Krypto is not going to be thinking about that. Krypto is going to be thinking about saving your life but not property damage.
I just wanted to get that out of the way because I did think about that when Krypto calls that giant hole in their wall.
Yeah, it's a pretty big panel too. It's like the splash panel where it has the name of the issue. It says Summer, and it's him like bursting through Kool-Aid Man style the wall.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no, bad boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of like wood flying in that
Yeah,
panel.
that's gonna be hard to fix.
That's not gonna get fixed right away. So even though there is a lot of property damage there, Krypto does save this family in Smallville, living near cornfields and such. So Morgan, I guess the other question I wanted to kind of start with you. We've really been on a journey with Krypto. Some things were good, not a lot of good, but most things were bad for Krypto.
Most things were bad for Krypto.
So did this issue give you what you wanted out of a Krypto or Krypto the Last Dog of Krypton comic book?
That's a great question. I'm glad he got a happy ending. He finds Clark and he finds the Kents, and he gets his little cape. And he gets his little dog tag, and they have a great time. I was like, finally, Krypto has a moment of joy. So yeah, I would say I got what I wanted eventually, which is him having just a moment of happiness. I will say I didn't need to see the dead dog from the last issue. In this issue again, that felt personal. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
There was a flashback to that, I guess. And I was curious about your thoughts because I was trying to figure out how to read this exactly. There's a set of 3 panels where they're all kind of with a red backing or coloring to it from issue number 4. So there's the Brainiac that appears, and there's Krypto standing over this dead dog. And then there's Krypto with the lady who has threatened this family at the beginning of issue number 5. Were these flashbacks, Morgan, or is this like him thinking about his like situation? Like I wasn't exactly sure how to read these panels.
I took it as a Krypto's new knowledge of the concept of death. So this is obviously a very cheery, heartwarming issue for the whole family, as this whole run has been. But I think it's Krypto. Krypto attacks the lady. He's got his like red eye beams ready to go. She's kind of like, "Oh my God, what's wrong? Like, what are you?" And kind of like cringing back. And he's going at her. And then he flashes back to Brainiac killing Brownie, his dog friend. And it's kind of like he's thinking, this is how I felt when my friend died. If I laser beam her, she will also die. And that like death is bad, basically. Like in his dog brain, I think he's flashing back to another time that he saw death and being like, well, I don't want to be the one who creates that same situation. Because we see in the Flash panel where he's barking over Brownie, and then the next panel is her like presumably dead in the same way that Brownie was. And I think it's him deciding, okay, I have to be more careful with these powers, even if somebody is bad. If I use my laser eye beams, I will kill her, and that's not good. So we see the laser eye beams kind of start to like short circuit out, and she punches the dog, which this is a bad lady.
She should have known not to hit him after the bullet that she shot at him hit his head and bounced off Superman Returns style. Yeah. She should have been like, maybe if the bullet doesn't do anything, maybe I shouldn't punch him with my hand.
Don't punch first off, don't punch a dog. What's wrong with you, lady?
She's an evil lady. She's going to punch a dog.
Moments before, it looked like he had laser eye beams. Your choice is to punch him?
She was a stupid criminal, as most criminals are.
Not a good one.
Not really thinking it through, because Superboy exists at this moment. So I feel like some people should know hey, these powers are familiar to another person who exists in this universe.
Yeah, not even. I think they're in the same town.
Yeah.
Because later on, the kids are like, "You must be Superboy's dog."
Clocked it right away.
When you see Superboy, tell him I said hello. And it didn't seem like he traveled that far to find him. So presumably this could be Smallville. I think it maybe is Smallville that this is happening in. So yeah, it does kind of feel like she should be more prepared for this situation and be like, maybe I don't punch the dog. A, because that's wrong. Don't punch dogs. And B, because he seems like he's a bullet bounced off of this dog, and then he almost lasered me to death. Maybe punching him isn't going to be so effective.
She did not make good decisions here. But she is a lady who held a family at gunpoint. So she wasn't making good decisions from the get-go.
No.
But I really appreciate your interpretation of those 3 panels, because I was really trying to figure out what that was trying to tell me, because you don't see her lying on the ground until several panels later, after the dad hits her, like kind of smacks her in the face with the frying pan to knock her out. So I was like, is he like foreshadowing? Like, is he like seeing this before it happens? Like, I was kind of confused at what was going on, but yeah, I think really like your interpretation that he's recognizing what death is and that he doesn't want to do it, contribute to that. So I think that's a really cool interpretation.
Yeah, and I could definitely see being like, is he seeing into the future? Because when he hits her with the pan, she's laid out in a similar way, although she has those little cartoon stars over top of her head, which is adorable. Very
It's so
Looney
you know
Tunes.
she's not dead like
She's
Brownie.
not dead. Although
She's-
I mean, if that was like a cast iron, she might be.
I mean, your brain is probably not going to do well with that.
Yikes. But I think the close-up panels of him over top of what looks like her dead body, like I like zoomed in, I did the guided view, and her eyes are kind of rolled up in a similar way to Brownie's eyes in the panel before, which is again
Unnecessary.
so unnecessary. I didn't like it in the last issue. I thought that specific shot from the last issue, I remember as I was reading it, I got to that one, I said, oh, come on. This is like a dog snuff comic now.
Oh,
and
yeah, no.
and this, to have it pop back up in this one, made me laugh, because I was like, all right, fine. We do what we want here. We don't care about Morgan.
I think it does play a storytelling role in here. And I think your interpretation is a really good one to inform Krypto's character and what he's learning through this process. Maybe one day he'll learn not to fly at super speed through a house wall. But he does.
That one's a work in progress.
He'll get there. But I think he is working through some things and learning some things as he goes along. And so I think that's a really cool way to look at that. Now, what did you think about him meeting the Kents?
I liked him meeting the Kents. I thought the meeting was where he kind of messes up the combine was very fun. I think it's fun to see. He just seems to have learned the flying, and he's not very good at it.
Maybe he's okay at the flying, just not the landing part. Maybe
definitely not good at the landing, as that poor family's house saw. And and so he just kind of like flies out of nowhere and lands in a big crater, which is often how we see Clark show up on the Kent farm. Is like the pod will crash land and there'll be a crater and like smoke will come out and they'll be like, ooh. And then this time it's like, ooh, and it's like a dog just looking up at you. I thought that was a really fun touch to kind of call back to like the Superman origin story. And it's like, well, this is Krypto's though. This is his hero's journey.
Well, and not only is he looking up at Jonathan, his tail is wagging. He's excited to be there. He's happy that he's there because he does seem to use his super smell senses. I think he smells Kal-El is nearby somewhere. I think he recognizes that maybe Kal from Krypton is in the neighborhood. And so he gets really excited. And so he does find the Kents that way. And I thought it was nice that it starts with Jonathan and gets him Krypto sort of wins Jonathan over enough to take him into the house. And so I think it's a really nice way to do it because it's a personal moment, and he's meeting a family because I know we've talked about Krypto encountering some people throughout his time in this series who have not been nice to him, not been kind to him. And so Jonathan is, always seen we've talked at
Not
varying
always.
varying lengths of how Jonathan Kent is, portrayed in various media. But he's generally seen as kind of, salt of the earth. He's a small town Kansas farmer who's just trying to, make his farm successful and raise his raise his son and be a good husband.
I occasionally have problems with the odd Jonathan Kent. But I will say, I don't think there's any version of Jonathan Kent that would be like mean to a dog.
Yes. I
There's
think that's
other
fair.
things Jonathan Kent would be like, we're like, Jonathan, really? But he's not going to try to punch a dog in the face like that lady.
Yeah, so I think it's a nice way to introduce him to the Kent farm to find Jonathan first, who immediately is nice to him, welcomes him in, and wants to see if maybe this dog that he is, who has just flipped over his combine, can maybe stay at their house. So I thought it was a nice touch that he says, me and Martha, we got to hit ourselves a history of taking in strays. So that was a really good line here in the dialogue. So he takes Krypto in to the Kent house and introduces him to Martha, and eventually runs into Clark. So did you think that the situation of the Kents bringing Krypto in, did that feel natural? Did it feel fast? What did you think about them bringing in this superpowered dog into their house?
I just feel like this is just like what the Kents do. Like a strange alien creature shows up and they're like, family?
Live here?
Do you want to live here? Destroy our farm equipment, please. It didn't surprise me at all that they would just like let the dog raid in and have the dog be the family dog. I just feel like that's a very Kent thing to do. They already know that Clark, where Clark is from, and that he, crash landed. So I think they're already more likely to see Krypto and be like, oh, like seems like you're like our son, and like it probably would be nice for our son to have a super dog. That seems chill. I like the idea that like they've maybe like talked about like, should we get him a dog? And then like the dog just shows up and is like, well, he's super. I mean, I feel like we can't tell him no now.
And I feel like the Kents are also people who probably wanted a dog for themselves anyway. So they seem to be all around dog people. So I think it's cool that the Kents recognize that this dog has the superpowers. They're like, oh my gosh, this is a flying dog. This feels familiar to us. And they welcome him in without much trouble. I mean, they recognize that this is probably something related to Krypton and related to Clark and his origin. And I think it's really special that they're able to kind of make those connections and then bring him in and just say, okay, we're going to try this. We'll see what this is like. And I think it was also a nice touch. And I have a question about this is that Jonathan and Martha remembered something was in baby Kal-El's ship. And so they go to, I guess, the farmhouse or wherever it is that they've been keeping it. And they find a little dog collar, what looks like a dog collar, which is, you could have used that, repurposed that for anything. But they recognize it now that they've seen this superpowered dog as a dog collar, and they go get it. I was trying to remember. Krypto came to Earth by himself, yes?
Yeah, he had his own pod. No thanks to Kal-El's parents.
Yeah.
Jor-El.
Way to
They're
go,
like,
Jor-El.
They were like, we have to try out this technology. How about the family dog?
We'll just ship him out into the universe by himself.
Crazy. Yeah, so his pod perhaps perceive or gets stuck in like a fence. We don't know what happens, but his pod goes before little baby Kal-El's. So I wonder if they were like, as they were putting Kal-El in the pod, they were like, you know what, just in case he made it, and then they throw in the dog tag. They were just like, maybe. I mean, you know what? It's not likely. It's not like we left him out there to die. But on the off chance the old boy did it, and then they throw it in.
Why didn't Krypto have it on him?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess they were like, well, this could be a one-way trip for him.
Maybe we'll get a new dog after this. We'll need this.
Yeah, maybe we'll keep this for the next one. Good boy.
I was very confused as to why baby Kal-El would have a dog collar in his ship.
Yeah.
Or did this little pendant thing, this S shield, this House of El glyph, was it in baby Kal-El's ship as something used for something else, but they just like see it as maybe this could be a dog collar?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could go either way. I think it could be something else. Maybe it's a big charm of some kind, or but I mean, I think we're supposed to read it as it's like a dog tag. It's like a House of El dog tag, which I think means that his parents put it in with him. But yeah, like what reason would they have to think that Krypto made it? Like, to be honest, what are the odds that Krypto made it? And then also, what are the odds that Clark would end up at the same place as Krypto? Because Krypto just kind of was like floating out there.
He was wandering the earth.
He wasn't going anywhere in particular. They're like, you're a really good boy. He's like, am I? Good boys seem like they would come home.
Yeah, so they do end up using this pendant thing as a dog collar, and Clark fashions a red cape for a Krypto to make him a superhero as well. So just jumping right into superhero suit, superhero identity, secret identity, and wants to immediately bring Krypto on his adventures. And I was curious, Morgan, and I don't know if this is like a boardroom or ballroom moment maybe, but I was kind of curious, since we've gotten this version of Superboy's suit. I kind of wanted to know what you thought about it. So I don't know, should we do a little boardroom or ballroom?
Sure.
And now,
Lena Luthor, boardroom or ballroom?
So I was curious, first of all, what do you think about the sneakers?
I love the sneakers. He is Superboy. He's not a man yet. And
Not time for the boots.
Yeah, he's still a boy, not yet a man. I was trying to get my Britney Spears in there some way. And so I like the idea of it being like a little bit more childish. We've got the red Converse. I think that's a really fun addition to the suit. I think it doesn't look as good as the boots, but it does look fun, and I think it like kind of gets across that like he is a super boy.
Yeah,
because he's still in his sneaks. He's just a skater boy.
He's just a skater boy. And I appreciate an Avril Lavigne reference.
Thank you.
What I think is interesting about this is sort of copying the DC superhero girl, the initial version of Supergirl from DC Superhero Girls, with the sneakers with her suit as well. So I guess that is a good way to show a teenage version of one of the L's. So I did think that was pretty fun, and I actually liked the belt on this suit. Usually there's like a yellow belt there. It's more of a brown one, but it seems this seems sort of like a homemade suit.
Yeah.
More of a homemade thing where he would have just like had a brown belt laying around in the at the house for other things, and so that's what he wears with his super suit.
Yeah, I like that this suit seems a little bit more like made, like it was made at home. He's got the sneakers, he's got the brown belt that just looks like a belt he got out of his closet. I think it works really well for like he's an up and coming superhero. But he's not Superman yet.
Right.
He's hasn't quite evolved into what he will become in the future.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool look at this version of Superboy and what that might look like for him. And so Krypto and Superboy are ready to go and pal around. So
And the trunks are also a little longer. They're more like shorts, I would say, in this version.
I actually like that better.
Yeah, me too.
I know even with the James Gunn, the David Cornsweet Superman, I thought his version of the trunks were better than what I've seen on other Supermen. So I think if you're gonna do the trunks, I would rather it be done like something like this. I think it makes much more sense in the modern day world. So I think it actually looks pretty good. All right. Well, any other thoughts before we get out of Lena Luthor boardroom or ballroom?
I think Superboy looks great. I think when he did his makeover and he gave Krypto a makeover, that was great. Krypto is really rocking the cape and his new collar with his new little dog tag that may or may not have been a dog tag that the elves expected him to get, or maybe they were like, never forget your loyal dog, you'll never see him again. We sent him out to die, but he there with you in spirit, and imagine their surprise. He made it. So I really like I like that he kind of did like a transformation, and then also Krypto has the cape as well. I thought that was like a funny funny addition. It's like not only did he transform into his Superboy outfit, but now Krypto has also got his super outfit on too.
And Krypto seems very excited about it. He doesn't seem to, he's not one of those dogs who's like, don't put anything on me. I don't want to wear anything.
That's what Beaker's like. He's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. When I first got the cats, you sent me little Superman capes for them.
Yeah.
And I could not get Beaker to put it on. He was like, "You're killing me." And then I put it on Bunsen, and he just sort of like he just kind of like went. He just powered down basically. He was like, I was like, "Bunsen, are you okay?" He's just like, "I don't know what's happening to me."
He just accepted it,
but it worked well because I could take pictures. Yeah, he immediately accepted his fate. He was like, "I guess this is life now." But Beaker fought back. Beaker resisted.
Krypto super happy about the cape and becoming a superhero. And this has been
Lena Luthor, boardroom or ballroom.
Well, do you have any other thoughts before I kind of get us to the art, and then I kind of want to get final thoughts on the series as a whole? Do you have any other things you want to bring up about the story before we get there?
I really like that they talk about the odds of this happening being so improbable. They're like, Jonathan and Martha are like, what are the odds of this? And it's like, it's crazy. Could you imagine? And I was like, yeah, the odds are pretty slim. It is crazy that they found in this big old crazy world of ours that they found each other and that they both ended up at the same planet improbably. I think, and that Krypto made it at all. Honestly, they weren't preparing him for any kind of journey to a specific place. So I like that they kind of underline that it's like a little bit of a miracle that they found each other and they were always meant to find each other. And I was like, of course, Krypto was always meant to find Superman. That's because he's a very good boy.
He is a very good boy. And I enjoyed the idea that this is sort of paralleling or contrasting, I guess, the family at the beginning with now the Kents as we see them. Because as I thought about, Krypto going to this house with this family and he destroys their wall and all of that, if he did that at the Kent's house, it would be okay. because Clark could just fix it. Like
Yeah.
if he did destroy the farmhouse, Clark's just gonna like even Jonathan says, like you've
Clark will
destroyed my
just fix it,
combine,
yeah.
but Clark will fix it. It'll be fine. So I think on some level, I'm really glad, on a really basic level, that Krypto can be with a family where even if he is slightly destructive, it's okay. They can do something about it. So it's a good thing that he is with Clark here, so that they can sort of balance each other out.
He's found the right people.
Yeah, he's found the right people. And I'm very curious about this version of Clark, because I can imagine, like most stories of young teenage Clark Kent, he's probably lonely, I would imagine, or he feels isolated, like he doesn't belong. And so having not only a dog, which is always, man's best friend, but a super dog like him who can do the things that he can do. I can imagine that being something that would really lift his spirits and make him a little happier. So I'm glad to see that this is not only beneficial to Krypto, who has had such a tough time in this series, to have a young boy who really loves and cares about him, versus like Lex, who was just using him in a lot of ways. But this is also beneficial for Clark, who would probably have wanted a dog and wanted a friend. So I'm glad to see that these kinds of things sort of come together in this issue. Okay, so the art. Oh, is everything okay?
Yeah, Beaker's trying to get under the couch, but the couch is like flat on the ground. So he's just like on his back trying to like get under it. It's very strange. I just like looked over and made direct eye contact with him, and he made direct eye contact with me, and we just kind of stared at each other for a second. And now he's just flopped onto the ground, defeated. So I was like, what is he trying to do over there? And then he stopped, and I was like, okay, I guess he's not trying to ruin my couch right now.
Have you ever seen him do it?
He can't get on
he can do
the new couch.
Oh.
He can't get under. They did successfully get under the old couch, and then they I'm sure I've told this story before. They ripped the thin material that is underneath of a couch. They ripped it open, and then they went inside the couch. One night I was just sitting, and I was like, it sounds like they're under there, but like real close to me.
Wait, were you sitting on them as we were in the couch?
Yeah, we tilted the couch backwards, and we saw Bunsen inside the couch, and we were like, that's bad.
I remember you telling me they had sort of destroyed parts of the couch.
Yeah.
I didn't know that like they were in there while all were on the couch.
They were in the couch. I was like, Mike, they sound really close. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, Mike, I have a bad feeling. I think that they're in the couch.
the call is coming from inside the couch.
It was. Anyway, we don't have that couch anymore. Surprise, surprise. So now there's nowhere for him to get under.
So old habits are dying hard.
They certainly are.
Well, I'm curious how that goes. Keep me updated on the couch
as he continues to try. I think he's got like one arm under it now, but it's like he's not going anywhere.
I wonder if would that have been a cozy place for them? What was
cats do love like small spaces.
Yeah.
Small dark spaces. It was their dream probably in there.
They had a secret little place just for them.
And we ruined it. And we ruined it for
you
them.
Have ruined it. You've taken it away from them.
They're like, why can't I nap in the couch? You nap on the couch.
Okay, well, keep us posted on the Lab Cats trying to recover and reclaim their couch space. In terms of the art here, this series has been really good in terms of the art and the visuals. Did you have anything that you wanted to talk about in terms of favorite panels or pages in this one?
Yeah, I think that the art in this one, as it has been for the full run, has been really, really good. I love the page when he runs into Clark's room and they're hugging on the floor, and the Krypto looks so happy and excited. There's a small panel, like right the page, the pages right before the last 2 pages, when right after Clark does his Superboy transformation, where Clark is saying, "We're gonna go play outside. We'll be home for dinner," and Krypto is like all over him, like he's holding Krypto. Krypto is like all over Clark, and his face is kind of thrown back in a funny way, and he's just like, "Yeah," and it's such a dog face, like a happy dog face, and I thought that was really. It made me laugh a lot, and also was like, yeah, this is like, when a dog's super happy, like he's just like, this is the best, and I was like,
Uncontrollable.
uncontrollable joy. And I feel like the art has been just really good at capturing all of Krypto's many emotions and keeping it grounded in, like, he's a dog. He's like not a dog who talks. He's not like a half human dog or something, a dog with more human characteristics. He's like, no, he's like a dog. He's like a regular dog.
Yeah.
And he's and now he's home and he's really happy. And I think this issue really drove that home. And I think that the art across the board was really good, but I think that the art for Krypto in particular through the whole run has been really good at showing us his emotions without having any kind of like speech bubbles,
Inner monologue
or inner monologue.
Yeah, and I think right at the beginning of this one is a good example of that, where Krypto is sort of still defeated about what happens to his friend Brownie, and what he's walking in this cornfield, and then he hears his ears perk up, and so I like that process of seeing his super hearing sort of going into action, to where he hears words that are happening in the distance, and he takes action and goes towards the danger. And so I really like seeing that process for Krypto. Like, how does he respond to people in trouble, and what would that look like for him as a superhero, palling around with Clark and Superboy. And so I think even then at the beginning, seeing that those emotions and seeing how he reacts to things, I think was really well done. So this series has been really stellar with the art. The storytelling has been tough. It's been tough to get through, but the art, I don't think, for me at least, ever let me down. I think the art was really, really good all the way through. So Morgan, we've gotten to the end of Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton as a series. What did you when you look back at this one, what do you think? Did you enjoy the process of getting there? Was the finale satisfying? What do you think about this series as a whole?
Yeah, I thought that the series was really well done. The art is beautiful throughout. I think the artist did such a good job, and in combination with the writer, of really making us understand how Krypto is feeling, what Krypto is thinking, without having to rely on any kind of dialogue or inner monologue. And I think the art has been very lovely. The colors have been really beautiful, especially as we go from season to season. We were in fall, we were in winter, we were in summer now. And I think the colors have kind of gone along with those story beats. Do I wish that it was a little bit less of a downer? Yeah, honestly, that my biggest critique of this series is that it's a little bit depressing for a series about Krypto the super dog. I do feel like you don't really understand what you're signing up for. And how sad it's going to be. I don't mind a little bit of sadness, but I think my expectations and my reality of the series were a little different. But with that said, I think that they were telling a really good story of Krypto's hero origin story, and the trials and tribulations he had to go through to to learn his powers, to learn that there are people that you can trust and you can't trust, and to get to the point where he finds the Kents at the end, and it's like a big triumphant moment. So I think overall I really enjoyed it. I kind of wish that there was a little bit more of a lightness or a funness to it, even if it was like it was 6 issues instead of 5, and there was an issue in between where he goes on like a wacky adventure. I think that would have helped between like issue 2 and like I mean, listen, none of them did he have a great time all the way through. But I would say that the issue 4 and issue 2 were the toughest to read. And I think that like maybe just adding one more padding issue in there where he like went on a wacky hijink before he meets the Kents would have been like a little bit of a breather. I think with only 5 issues, if you have 2 issues that are really, really heavy, then the whole thing kind of starts to feel a little heavy.
Yeah. I think for me, this was a very satisfying ending. I kind of predicted it way in advance. I kind of always figured, and maybe you did too, but I kind of always figured that we would get to the Kents at the end, that would be his conclusion. And I think that's a good way to end it. I think for this kind of story where it's Krypto trying to figure out his way on Earth and figure out where he belongs, I think it's a very fitting thing for him to find the Kents at the end and to know that is a place where he belongs and he is welcome there and accepted and loved in their house. And so I really like the way it sort of bookended, where issue 1 is him on Krypton being shipped off by the elves, and here at the end he's found his Earth family that he can be part of. And so I think even though there are some tough issues there, in most of the issues have some heavy moments, I think it does a good job bringing us full circle and then also giving us that levity at the end that I think it definitely did need. So for me, I thought this was it was a good Krypto story. We don't get many of those. So a lot of times Krypto stories are like one shots or in conjunction with a Superman or a Supergirl story that aren't really focused on Krypto. So I actually, by the time we ended up with Superboy and Krypto, I was like, you know what? I would keep reading this.
Yeah. I do feel like that was that was probably another critique I had, was it feels like right when you get to the happy ending, I wish there was a little bit more happy ending. Honestly, I wish there was more time with Superboy and Krypto. I wish that there was one more issue. I guess I'm a broken record. I wish there was one more issue and they got to go on an adventure and we got to see them working together. I think that is one thing I feel like it was like a little bit missing from this, is I think that there should have been Superboy and Krypto working together to fix a problem or to fight an enemy or something, because I think that would have been fun. It feels like we end right as things are starting to get started, which is, I guess, the point. They're okay, this is the Krypto we all know and love now that he's gone through his dark night of the soul.
Yeah, I would have kept, like, if they had more of these issues, I would have kept reading it. But I think in order to keep this as a perfect Krypto story, I think this is a great place to end it. So I don't want to get too greedy and then them add more issues and then ruin it eventually, because anytime you push a story past where it should end, sometimes it doesn't go well.
And you're like, they should, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have kept going on that one. So I think this, to retain it as a good, solid story of 5 issues, I think this is a great place to end it. But if they had chosen to keep going, I would have kept going with it. So I personally really enjoyed this. I thought it was a different kind of story that I had read before. And so I thought it was just really well done. And so I'm glad they took a chance on making a Krypto series, even if it was only for 5 issues.
Yeah, and even though it was only for 5 issues, I will say I like that they're doing they're kind of branching out and doing these sort of smaller issues or smaller runs for smaller characters or like side characters. I always joke that like I would read a day in the life of like Director Bones or something. But like really, I do think that they have such a good cast of characters in DC. and a lot of supporting characters that I think could support like a 5-issue or, an 8-issue or something like that, where it's not, it's not going on forever and ever. And you're like, hey, did you catch the, the new issue of Hat? And you're like, yeah, that's not that many people are reading that, but like a Hat mini, yeah, I'm there. And I think it's nice. I would like to see them do this a little bit more often, where they give supporting cast like their a short mini series.
And I think these stories that are more self-contained and actually have an endpoint are usually better.
Yeah, I would
They're
agree with
usually
that.
better written. They usually have much I don't want to say more beautiful art, but the artist can take their time. The
A
artist
little
can,
bit more time.
yeah,
Yes, exactly.
can actually really put a real effort into the art instead of having to crank something out like all the time. So I think this actually gives more quality to the storytelling and the comic book creation. And I think that's a great idea, to take a lesser known character, give it 5 issues to tell a story about that character. And then you can have a series that you could hand out to somebody and be like, hey, you liked Krypto the super dog in that Superman movie? Well, here's a 5-issue story about Krypto that you can check out and read for yourselves. So I think Woman of Tomorrow, I think kind of ruined us, because I think we both really enjoyed, I don't want to speak for you, but I think we really both enjoyed that it was
Yeah.
8 issues. It was a self-contained story. It had a beginning, middle, and end. And I
I
agree
didn't have
with you.
I didn't have to cross-reference anything. I didn't have to look at the editor's note and be like, "Oh no, I didn't read Action Comics 1211."
I didn't have to look up the Omega Men once.
No.
So I think these kinds of stories would be beneficial to getting comics in the hands of people. And I mean, if there was a 5-issue storyline about Director Bones, you better believe I'm picking that up.
Of course.
Yeah. So I think that would be really beneficial for DC Comics as a company, because it's, I think, better quality, and I think it is better for the end user and the reader.
I think so too, especially when it comes to trying to entice new readers into the medium and the format. And when you have a movie come out that is popular, like Superman, for instance, and then somebody's like, "Oh man, that got me so hyped up. I want to read a good Superman comic book." And then you kind of like go into a comic store and you get overwhelmed and you leave, right? Like, I think that the Krypto and Woman of Tomorrow, what is great about them is that you could be like, I loved Krypto in the Superman movie. Oh, look at, like, this is the Krypto book. Or if you love Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow after the summer of Supergirl, you can pick up Woman of Tomorrow, and you don't need to have like 60 years of backstory to understand the story that's happening right there. You can just read it open and shut. So I think, doing more of these limited runs is kind of a win-win, because then it gets people into comics, and then before they know it, they're on like the DC Wikipedia being like, cyanide sweat. But you gotta ease into that.
Yeah,
You know what
you
I mean?
don't go straight to cyanide sweat.
You don't want to start with that.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see more of these in the future. I guess before we end our discussion, we could probably get to some comments in the chat. So Stanley asks, wonder if Kara exists in this universe. I would imagine she's somewhere.
I would assume.
I don't know if she is in a ship that's in suspended animation somewhere, or maybe she landed on some other part of the world, or maybe she's on Apocalypse somewhere. She's somewhere. I assume she exists
She's around
somewhere in there. But there are some Superman stories that just act like she is not a thing, and they just kind of avoid her
How dare
at all
they.
costs. But I would like to think she's somewhere in there. We did not get confirmation of that, though. Let's see. Mind the Gap says, to me, that makes this Krypto stand out, that not every Krypto series needs to be like this, but gives it its identity. So I think what I think is cool about this story is that this is now like a Krypto story.
Yeah.
And so I think this also opens it up possibly to giving other people chances to be like, I could write a Krypto comic book. This one was great. I have a Krypto story that I want to make. So maybe this will open up the door to make room for other Krypto comic book titles and other Krypto stories in the future. I think that would be really cool.
That would be really cool. I see Mind the Gap also said, sometimes for legal rights reasons, DC and Marvel give minor characters random miniseries. So what I assume is that like sometimes they need to be like justify that they're using the character or something. They're like, no, we're using that character. They actually. He has his own miniseries that's coming out right now.
The Untold Story of Plastic Man. We're doing it.
Exactly. What the people want.
Well, the people do want a Streaky series. So I think that is a fair ask.
I agree.
Or even a Comet the Super Horse.
Listen.
I think they should do all the Super Pets like this. 5 issues.
5 issues.
Yeah.
Why not? Why? What do you have to lose except money, presumably? But I would pay the money.
I would buy that.
I would buy
Rachel would buy it.
Everybody would buy it. I want the Comet the Super Horse one so bad because like a lot of people don't know about Comet. We're trying to change that here on this podcast.
We have been doing that for a long time.
We're changing hearts and minds here on this podcast. But Comet's so crazy. Like Comet's backstory is truly wild, and I feel like Comet for sure could support a 5 issue.
Now, that's a great idea. Maybe they've already thought about this. We haven't heard anything of it. But since this Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton story came out with the Superman movie, why wouldn't they do a Comet the Super Horse? Because
this seems like a natural tie-in for me.
Because Woman of Tomorrow doesn't really go into his backstory.
No, and but you might want to know about it. And it would be helpful. Maybe they release it like slightly before the movie so you can start to dig into the backstory, and then you're like, there's that horseman I know about.
Here's my pitch. So in Woman of Tomorrow, there is a slight insinuation that Kara and Comet have had romantic entanglements of some kind.
This is part of the Comet lore that is that most people find off-putting.
But that is the reason why Comet's, spoiler alert, his death in Woman of Tomorrow is so impactful because Kara really cares about Comet. Now, if you don't know about that, what I would do is that around the Woman of Tomorrow time, maybe after you experience that tragic loss, you get a 5-issue story where you see the romance.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that.
I would read that because I don't really feel like that has been done very well. I think there is a story where you could tell a story,
a tragic romance.
Yes.
If only I wasn't a horse most of the time.
I think that story could be given some real weight.
So this randomly reminds me, have you seen on Amazon Prime My Lady Jane?
No.
I have to recommend this highly to you. I don't know if you like historical fantasy or
My
whatever.
Lady Jane or Jade?
My Lady Jane.
It's
based off of a real Tudor queen. And we talked about it for the legendary
ladies. Jane Seymour?
No. Yeah.
Oh,
not Jane Seymour. It was Jane Grey.
Okay.
We talked about it for the Legendary Ladies podcast. Plug alert. But spoilers for that show. You start watching it. It starts out as like kind of a fun like historical fantasy. Historical show, and then halfway through you find out that people can transform into animals, and the main love interest transforms into a horse.
What?
It is as wild as it sounds, and I cannot recommend it more highly. They canceled it, and I am forever at war with them, but the first season does end in a way that like feels satisfying.
Okay.
I'm trying to pitch it to everybody. If you love horse content, if you love forbidden romances, this is basically Comet the series.
I would love to see a real attempt.
So I know it can be done.
It can be done. I feel like it can
Get the
be done.
people who wrote My Lady Jane, get them in there for the Comet.
I think it is a little weird in the Silver Age. There's some weird things going on there.
A lot of weird things go on in Silver Age.
Peter David, I think, makes an attempt, and we will maybe get there soon. But I think Peter David makes a real attempt to deal with the Comet Supergirl situation.
The Comet of it all.
The Comet of it all. And so I feel like if you were going to do any kind of story, a short self-contained story tied into Woman of Tomorrow, I think that's one you could do.
I do feel like Comet is a natural fit, and Comet is a character that has such a wacky backstory that I feel like you could be like, this is the backstory of Comet, or this is the backstory of their relationship.
Yeah.
And it would feel like it is kind of needed information.
Yeah. And I think that it would be something that you wouldn't have to introduce in the movie, or you wouldn't have to give away in any kind of form, but it could just be a way to sort of enjoy an extension of the movie in that way. So I personally, if they have not done something like that, I will be shocked.
I hope you're working on it right now, DC.
You've got time. The summer of Supergirl.
You've got a couple of months. It's time to start going.
You got like 8 months.
We're always pitching great ideas to DC.
You can do it. The summer of Supergirl is coming, but we are not there yet. Stanley says Comet might be too weird for most readers, and that's probably true.
That's fair.
That doesn't mean that we don't want it.
That doesn't
because
mean
it's
we
weird.
give up. We don't give up on Comet just because he's too weird and people are weirded out by it.
I think I want it because it is weird.
That is 100% this podcast. The weirder, the better.
Going back to Krypto, though, Stanley also asked, do you prefer Krypto to talk and think or be totally silent? How would you want if you were going to write a Krypto story, how would you do it?
Ooh, that is a good question. I don't know. This one is a tough one. I like this as a question because I think that it can be done both ways really well, and I've seen it done. Just a couple weeks ago in I think it was Supergirl number 5, where they had it was the Super Pets issue. Krypto we see his thought process. We see his oh, I'm having so much fun. I'm playing with Candy. Candy and I are having a great time. Candy's like, I will kill you. So I think that can be fun, but I also think that there is something also very fun about having Krypto be like a real dog who doesn't talk, who doesn't we don't have access to Krypto's inner monologue, and just sort of being able to see it through that vision. I think, I don't know, I might go for Krypto as a normal dog and see what I could do with that.
Yeah, I like the ability to try to interpret what he's thinking and really get inside his point of view. So I actually preferred it when he was silent, but you could see his emotions. I thought that was really cool. Rachel does have, I guess, a take saying the Superman movie had his appearance talking about him taking a harem. I don't think the Comet story is that far-fetched in comparison. Look, there's some weird stuff in that Superman movie.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about weirding people out, I don't think Comet the Superhorse is that far gone compared to what was in that James Gunn movie.
We can bring in Comet the Superhorse, I think, for sure.
If they're going to do that kind of weird stuff, what's to say they can't do some other weird stuff?
I will say, yeah, the Superman movie had some comic booky kind of wild out there things. I feel like they shouldn't be afraid of Comet. It's time to embrace Comet. It's time to bring Comet into the fold.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to utilize some characters who haven't been used in any real way before, I think I don't even think Comet has been in animation.
I don't think so either.
Krypto sure has, and
Of
Streaky has.
course. Yes.
But I can't even think of a time where Supergirl has been with Comet in any kind of animated TV show or movie. I can't even think of them like putting him in any kind of animated thing, which is a
I think
travesty.
I think they try to like get away from Comet, I think, when they're doing like more modern Supergirl stories. And I think this is a mistake because Comet is one of the funnier aspects of Supergirl's backstory. And people are just leaving that on the table. Like, okay, he's a part man, part horse. He changes into a horse, but then he's also a man. Also, they maybe are into each other. It's weird and funny. Like, why are we not using this?
I still like our pitch that we talked about during the Supergirl TV series run, where do you remember us? Or I maybe pitched the idea of that guy from Dallas who played J.R. Ewing's son.
Yes.
Josh somebody, that actor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like this is the story I would do. I would have that guy or a guy like him be like a ranch hand or like a cowboy of some kind. And so Kara somehow interacts with this guy on a ranch, and she has some sort of like a summertime romance or something with this ranch hand. I would be into that.
I look up the actor. He was played by Josh Henderson.
Yeah.
He was J.R. Ewing III.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think this was a real missed opportunity because we had like a lot of Dallas people on Supergirl.
On the Supergirl TV series. Yeah.
And I feel like it was a real missed opportunity to not really like round out the Dallas cast, just have everybody kind of on at some point. And he would have made a great super horse. I looked at that man and I said, that man's would be a great horse.
I think that's the story I would write if I could write a Comet Supergirl story, is that I would somehow get Kara on, maybe he's like a ranch hand who comes to help out at the Kent's farm. And so
yeah, I mean,
she has like a summer fling with this guy who ends up being cursed and to turn into a horse. And it's just a tragic romance. That's all it is.
Listen, I like it. I think we've got a real rom-com situation that we could pitch.
I honestly think we should workshop this.
We should workshop this. They're like, the people cry out to know more about Comet.
I think we should workshop it and send it to Tom King and be like, thoughts?
Have you considered just a little bit of Comet? We know Tom King has Comet, like put Comet in Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we have some Comet representation.
He would be an ally for us.
He would back us up. I know it.
I think we should pursue this. This is our way into writing Supergirl comics. But yeah, so I think they should do something like this for the summer of Supergirl when it comes around, because I thought this was a nice way to sort of tie into that Superman movie, to give something to people who come out of that who really, because a lot of people did like Krypto from the movie.
I had my little Krypto plush.
Yeah. So this is a great way to capitalize on that with the comics to have something for those people who like Krypto. So I am glad we could take the time. It was short. It was easy to read.
Yeah.
And so it was something fun to talk about. Well, I think that might do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. If you'd like to contact us, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Supergirl Radio is part of the DC TV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Network, so definitely go check those out. You can hang out with us as we go live and wired on Tuesday nights, usually at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel. Sometimes, mostly due to me, we've had to switch some of our days here, but usually Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. DC TV Podcast also has a TeePublic store. So if you're in need of new DC TV or DC Comics or Supergirl or Krypto related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pins, phone cases, pillows, or stickers. And I also saw they added bags. You can go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
And since we've been talking about Krypto, we have some Last Dog of Krypton designs in the DC TV podcast T Public store that we would love to suggest.
Yeah, so they have like these like fanny pack bags now.
Cute.
So if you need a new little satchel kind of thing for any of your adventures, you can get any of our designs in the T Public store as a bag. It's like a thing that you can.
I like that. That looks handy.
Yeah, so you could put all your little knickknacks in there. So I think that's pretty cool. So we have sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts for this time of the year. It's starting to get a little cooler, and fall is making its way into winter in the next couple of months. So if you need some warm clothing, we've got some of those in there. But we have a lot of Krypto designs if you would like to check those out. And we'd like to thank our legion of super sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Sam, and Marie, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Majuba, Annie, Rachel, and Kit. And if you'd like to also become a legion of super sponsor, you can go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. We will be recording our Scream 3 review next week. So that'll be our spooky season review because Morgan has never seen Scream 3, and
I've seen all the Screams except for 3,
and that is and it's my favorite one of the series. So
Kismet.
I am excited to have you watch it because I enjoy it immensely. If you would like to check me out on the interwebs, you can find me in a couple of places. I'm on the social media platform Vero at Derby Kid. I'm on Instagram at The Derby Kid. I have a personal YouTube channel at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. And I also do a travel blog with my brother at Oasis Broom, but we are kind of behind. I'm behind on all my content. Hopefully, as things sort of slow down here in like November and December, I can get to some of that stuff when I have some time. But that's where you can find me on the internet.
Awesome. And you can find me as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, where we will be talking about was it 10 Cloverfield Lane? I think so. 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I just watched the other day. So it's embarrassing. I do not remember the name of the movie, but I really enjoyed the movie. And also, I think we will also be talking about the movie Sinners. So we're doing some spooky season stuff for the podcast. And also, speaking of my co-host on the podcast, Kat, she has a new Kickstarter anthology out called The Witching Season, which is a witch horror comic anthology. And if you support it, and when you get the comic, you might see a familiar face, which is that I provided a story for the anthology, which was really fun. I like this is my second comic that I've written, and it was really fun to write, especially because I love spooky stuff and I like witches. So it was a really fun one. And if you go to the Kickstarter page, you can even see a little spooky preview image from my comic. So that's really fun.
That's really exciting. Really exciting that you got another chance to write something. So that's very cool. If you are watching the live stream, we do have a QR code for that anthology comic. If you would like to scan it and go over there and support the project to read Morgan's comic. So that is awesome. And I hope everything goes well with that. We'll be looking forward to reading it. Very cool. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon. And remember, the universe is filled with more mysteries than we'll ever know.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Alan Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!